You're looking at the King for week number 4, Greg Lothian. Here in week number 5 at Kingpin Lanes, I'm Tom Verotto along with Dave Newrath and Bo Hudepohl. We've arrived at the championship match. Greg Lothian against Doug Thomas, a pair of 22-year-olds and a pair of, as they call them in golf and bowling, young lions.
Yes. Well, this young lion sent the ball a little too wide. 2-4-5. Part of the bucket, as we used to call it, but I don't know. It's looked a little fast for the first ball. I'm wanting to get it out of the way. I remember, you know, being on the show a couple of times. That first ball, boy, your stomach is jumping around a little bit there. You just want to get the first frame over and out of the way.
Especially after you've been watching the past 2 games, knowing what you have to do, just aching to get on. You mentioned Greg Lothian's bowling better than you've ever seen him. Why?
Simply games, Tom. He's getting older, but that doesn't necessarily make you better unless you work at it as you go. He's bowled a lot more tournaments. He's manicured his game to the point where it utilizes all of his basic talents, and that's his strength and his accuracy. I think Doug Thomas learned something on that errant shot in the 11th frame. I call it an errant shot, but it turned out to be pretty nice. He realized how much area he really had to the right. The big cranker that he is, I think we're going to see him utilize shots further right than he did the first game.
That's 9 straight dating back to last game. Doug Martin.
You might hear some bowling going on in the background, as most of the BPA centers do. They're constantly having tournaments, and they're opening the facility to their members to utilize, and we've got a little tournament going on down at the low end of the house this morning.
Doug Thomas's streak comes to an end at 9.
You know, besides the tournament today, Kingpin Lanes is going to host the 2nd annual Child Adult No Tap tournament here on March the 15th and 16th. It's really a neat tournament. It's fun because the adults, if they leave 9, you know, if they get 9 pins down, they actually get a strike. And if kids, if they get 8 pins down, they get a strike. So they have a lot of 300 games. It's not sanctioned, but it's a lot of fun. They can call Kingpin for some details on it.
Sign me up for that one. I love to bowl. Can I do that this afternoon at the qualifier, Bo? Sign me up for no tap?
I'm sorry.
No. It's probably the only way I'm going to make it.
Had to break the news to you on the air, Dave, but no. Okay, you heard some cheers from the crowd. The Lothian contingent that followed him last week to Del Fair has followed him this week to Kingpin. After a spare in the first.
Lothian's Legions. There they are.
There they are.
They're boomers. Greg's nickname is Boomer, and they call themselves Boomers.
Boomers.
That's
what
right.
Is this game?
Well, you know, this is interesting because they could apply themselves to 2 sports now. During football season, they could go and cheer on the Esiason Boomer, and now they could cheer on the Lothian Boomer.
Greg Lothian, super shot, good guy, well-schooled bowler. His function is to do one thing, and that's to destroy 10 pins every time he throws the ball a ball.
And here's his attempt in the 3rd frame, and he does it. Keeping the crowd. Oh, yes, they love it. I know it's a little early to be talking about the '88 Olympics, but you see how popular baseball got to be, and in '84 they were given a chance in the Olympics. With the popularity of bowling, Bo, we may just someday see bowling in the Olympics.
That's correct. They are right now making decisions on a national level to have bowling in the Olympics as a demonstrative sport this year, hopefully, or in the '88 Olympics. But right now, in order to be prepared for that, the American Bowling Congress and WIBC and YABA are conducting Team USA qualifying, is what they're calling it. And right now at our King qualifier at Harrison Bowl, they are conducting this qualifying during the tournament this weekend. It's like a 9-game feat, and then 1 out of 10 is going to advance to another category, and then they keep on advancing on to the national and international competition.
Has to start somewhere. It might as well start right here.
Look out. Oh, look out. Leaving a 10 pin on a weak shot. Then, like I said before, there is no excuse to miss a 10 pin. He's frustrated with himself. He shot spares in the beginning of the tournament to figure out what the lanes were doing as he would shoot across. Completely a mental breakdown for Doug Thomas.
So, mental breakdown is one thing. How well you regroup from it, Dave, as you well know, is another. It's still early in the match. Still plenty of time to salvage it, but you don't want to get too far behind Greg Lothian. he'll eat you up alive.
Regroup, comes back with an absolutely fantastic shot. Let's take a look at it here on this split screen. Watch the reaction, watch the pins. Now he's going to send a messenger, as we call it, the head pin. Center your screen, watch it go to the left, hit the wall. Now watch it come careen across the 10-pin standing. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
You didn't even have to look at the right side of the screen, just the face of Doug Thomas.
The messenger, the big cranker, can do it, but you don't have to do it to be a good bowler.
Greg Lothian has done it the past 2 frames. Oh!
I'll tell you what, we got them falling everywhere today, Tom.
Couldn't decide whether it wanted to go down.
Let's take a look at this one on the replay. Not quite the power shot we saw the frame before, but it's kind of interesting. Again, the head pin going to the wall, kind of rolling around and saying, well, come on, let's get this dude out of here.
We have a time limit here.
Yes, that's right. 4 pins on the deck. Every pin doing its job. Or somebody else's, whichever way it works out. Greg Lothian, as we speak, enjoys a 32-pin lead.
And it just keeps on rolling. Lothian knew it. Putting the hammer down on Doug Thomas, and he's got the crowd behind him.
Keep it going!
32 pins up. Greg Lothian is definitely in the driver's seat. But Doug Thomas, we've seen him come back before. We might see it again, but he's got to start now. Greg Lothian cannot get too far away here. He needs this shot.
Working off a strike in the 4th frame. And make it 2 straight.
There it is. It was only perfect. I tell you what, I want to thank Dr. Robert Klein for letting me see this score sheet. My contacts destroyed, self-destructed this morning, or else I couldn't see that Greg Lothian is 32 minutes in the lead.
Thank you, Doctor.
I tell you,
Bo and I both appreciate the fact that Dave can see.
to have good eyes, count your blessings, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm blind without these things.
Oh, is this an excuse brewing for the way you've been bowling, Dave?
No, not at all.
Doug Thomas. No help at all on that one.
Solid 4. About a ½ inch away from a strike. But, Tommy, what can you say? He threw the ball in the area. The match is still not over. Greg Lothian, if he stumbles anywhere along the line, he can know in his own heart that Doug Thomas is somewhere close behind him.
Pin, spare. Doug Thomas picks it up. All right, we're at Kingpin this week. Next week we go to Harrison, but Bo, it's never too early to think 2 weeks in advance.
Well, our qualifying this week is at Harrison for next week's TV show, and 2 weeks down the road, our show will be at Durbin Bowl, which means qualifying is next Saturday and Sunday at Durbin Bowl in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and Durbin is owned by the same people that own Harrison, so we have a nice group of proprietors down there working with us.
Working our way right through the tri-state area. Been on both sides of the river.
Oh, it's an excellent area. What is it? It's now 43 pins.
Five straight for Greg Lothian, and he's really paying back for that spare in the first frame.
43 pin advantage. Greg Lothian midway through the championship match. What can you say? Yes, he is that good.
You know, before I talked about the American Bowling Congress sponsoring Team USA, we have some very, very great people here from the American Bowling Congress this morning. Gene Adams, who is on the national board, I think is like first vice president of the American Bowling Congress, Wally Wolfell, and Brad Himmler.
So, 40 pins to the money. Not too much paper. There you go. There's those people you're talking about, Bo.
Yes, Gene Adams is on the left there, right next to Tom Murphy, our proprietor, who's here this morning. Along with, we got some other proprietors very quickly. We got Sam Coleman, our Super Sam, Mike McDonald from Stumps, Jerry Bettinghouse from Eastgate, Doug Martin came in from Super Bowl.
All here seeing some fine bowling and seeing Greg Lothian with a commanding lead over this man, Doug Thomas. A pair of 22-year-olds showing that bowling is alive, well, and heading in the right direction. Where Dave Neurath started the trail, These men are picking it up.
Oh, geez, thanks. I needed that, Tommy.
Setting mean precedent.
40 pins down, can cut it to 30 with this strike. That's the way to do it. Dire straits, that's the way to
body
do it.
blocks, karate chops.
Let's take a look at it here. It's a little snug, but effective. On the replay, you can see the ball. It's going to cut through sharply, perfectly in the 1-3, but cutting through very sharply right there, sending the 3-pin to the wall, and the 3-pin does the damage on the 10 right there. Ball was actually a little high, but the power got him through. 30 pins in the hole, strike working.
Doug Thomas trying to unseat our king from week 4, Greg Lothian.
Big shot right here.
Boy, he doesn't
liked
fold.
it. He liked it. He was 2 frames to the right after he threw it.
Doug Thomas rolling 9 straight, combined 9 straight strikes in the second and third game. Now finding himself with his back against the wall, and Greg Lothian is the reason why.
30 pins. He enjoys the lead at this time. Greg Lothian knows that if he slacks up for a minute, Doug Thomas could run around him. Not slacking up right now.
Talk about perfection. That's perfection personified.
Solid 30-pin lead. He enjoys. He can take it to the wall and close this match out.
We spoke of his lack of emotion last week, Dave, but I think you hit it right on the head. This man is a energy plant inside as he watches it. Doesn't always show it. Stoic look, but you know if he gets this strike, the fist will go in the air. Greg Lothian will be feeling a little more comfortable.
That's it.
The hands went up, they clapped. We may see him defend his crown for the second straight week. Dave, on a split screen, take a look at it.
What a shot. Absolutely maxed out power. 5-pin hacksaws into the 7. He slaps it. He likes it. He knows what that means. Now, Greg Thomas, if he takes it to the wall, can shoot 237. Not good enough. Greg Lothian is already on that pace. Don't count him out, though.
Anything can happen. That really.
Might want to mention, of course, week in and week out, we have paydays here. The king, a nice healthy $750, $375 for runner-up, $225 will go to Dave Forwood today, and $150. We might just want to get back to this, to the history-making Regina Pollard, qualifying, first woman to qualify for the king. And I think she's blazed the trail that other ladies will be following, Bo.
The situation is this. With this ball, Doug Thomas forces Greg Lothian to mark in the 10th frame. He's got to have it.
We're going to go right down to the wire. But how many times have we said that in the 5 weeks?
This is fantastic. People ask us what kind of competition you have in Cincinnati. Tune in Channel 5 Sunday afternoons and you'll find out. We got the toughest around, Cincinnati style.
Bo, you mentioned through 24 games we had a 214 average. I think the bowlers today have done their part in keeping it there.
They've thrown a lot of strikes. That's the name of the game. The strikes accumulate and the average goes up.
Doug Thomas. 10th frame. Oh boy.
7
He
count. 234 he finishes with.
Texas Instrument computer going off,
yeah,
and Dave Newrath had.
The party's over. Critical shot. He trusted it. He went with the maximum power that helped him out in the 10th frame of the last game. Just not to be today.
No, but Doug Thomas on his home lanes, I have a feeling, built the confidence that could be back later on in the year. Greg Lothian will defend his crown. He keeps it on the lanes for the second straight week. So in 5 weeks, we have had 2 kings. Kim Herman for weeks 1 through 3. Greg Lothian week 4. And why not finish in style, Greg, for week number 5.
That's all right. Look at him. Look at the sheet. That's it. How well schooled is this boy? Look what he did. He's got the match, for all intents and purposes, locked up. He took as much time, maxed out on that shot as well as he could possibly do it.
He's grooming himself for the Pro Tour.
That's pretty obvious.
That's right.
The kid's got all the tools.
While he's throwing that shot, can I just say hello to my father who just got operated on Friday morning, and he's in the hospital. I want to say hi to my dad, and I hope you're feeling well today.
Yes. A speedy recovery. A speedy recovery. This is just for pin count. And they keep that 214 average of all the bowlers up on Hudepohl's King of TV Bowling. Oh, he does that so nice. So, the championship has been decided here in week 5 from Kingpin Lanes as Greg Lothian with a stellar 246 performance. Best Doug Thomas's 224. When we come back, payday for the bowlers as you see Greg Lothian defend his championship in week 5.
Seit mehr als 400 Jahren wird in Deutschland der Standard für die höchste Bierqualität festgesetzt. Dieses Bierstandardgesetz nennt man Reinheitsgebot. Viele berühmte Biere haben das nie erreicht. Ein amerikanisches Bier hat es jetzt geschafft. Das Bier heißt Christian Moerlein aus Cincinnati, Ohio. Christian Moerlein ist ein Bier von Weltruf. Prost, Christian Moerlein.
No other taste attracts so much attention. Diet Pepsi, you gotta be the most refreshingest invention. See that smile, see that look. Diet Pepsi is all it took. Diet Pepsi, have I mentioned? You gotta be the most refreshingest invention. No other taste attracts so much attention.
Every now and then, I compete in front of the whole world. Other times, I'm just out to have a good time with my family and friends. Come on, you're up. That's why I got into bowling. Yeah, bowling. It's fun. It's pretty good exercise. It's great. Best of all, you don't have to get a 10 to have a great time. All right. On the other hand, it doesn't hurt.
Check the yellow pages for the location nearest you.
Back for the presentations, and Dave, it was a great week, a history-making week here on the TV King.
Fantastic. We saw some super matches. We saw some great execution. A lot of people walking away with a lot of money today.
And, of course, having Regina Pollard on as our first Queen qualifier, but right now the King. And Greg Lothian for the second week in a row, a check for $750, and the King of the TV Bowling, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Congratulations. Thanks. So, for week 5, it's all over at Kingpin. Next week, we'll see you at Harrison Bowl. Until that time, for both Hudepohl and Dave Newrath, I'm Tom Verotto saying see you next week.